All right, hi everyone. We are looking at one of our last topics of our sections, going over the TSI review. So right now we're going to be looking at probability of events. And this is going to be broken up into two pieces, this one set of notes for our lesson this week. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in and get started. Probability specifically is the likelihood or another way to say this is the chances of something happening. And we call that something events. So for the first example, we're looking at the chances that it will rain today. Now, when we look at different kinds of events, your events can come in one of two ways. They can be what we call independent, and we'll talk about what that means here in just a second. Or they can be dependent. And these two words are very similar. Whoops, sorry, misspelled that for a second. These two words are very similar to the idea of independent and dependent you learned in either 8th grade or Algebra 1. All right, so let's talk about what it means to be independent and dependent for our probability. All right, so independent means the outcome of one event does not, okay, clue here is does not affect the outcome of the other. Okay, so one event happening, such as maybe you roll a dice and then you flip a coin. Those two things are not related to each other at all. Now, dependent events is the outcome of one event does affect. Okay, the outcome of one event does affect the result of another, such as maybe the chances that it rains today will affect whether or not you can go to the pool. So there's two events down below here, and we're going to figure out which one of them is independent, which one of them is dependent. All right, so first one, the probability of rolling a 1 on a dice or getting ahead after flipping a coin. Well, like I said earlier, those are two completely separate objects. One does not affect the other, making this an independent event. Me rolling a 1 on a dice has no effect to that coin and me getting ahead. Now, the second sentence, the second event, the probability or the chances of buying snacks at a movie after you've had a big dinner. Some people, they like to go to dinner first and then go to the movie so that way they don't spend as much at the movies. I'm one of those people. So the probability of me getting snacks at the movie theater really do depend on how much did I have for dinner. So this is an example of a dependent. This is a dependent event. So now that we kind of have an idea about these different events, we're going to talk just a little bit about writing and finding those actual probabilities. Now, writing probabilities is very much like writing a ratio that we did a couple of weeks ago. The big thing here is, like ratios, they have to be simplified, whatever that fraction is. Now, when we deal with writing out your probabilities need a part. What is the specific part that we're looking at over the whole entire outcome, all of your outcomes, or all the different possibilities, or sometimes part out of the total. So we're going to use this part over whole and see what we're looking at for this specific situation. So you have a normal bag of Skittles. Inside this bag, there's 12 red Skittles, 12 purple, 10 green, 10 orange, and 10 yellow. What is the probability of drawing a red Skittle from the bag? So this time our part is the red, and the whole is everything in the bag. So we're going to have to add up all of these numbers. So let's add those up real quick. We've got 12 plus 10 plus 10. Oh, sorry, there's another 12. So let me just go put that front. 12, 12, 10, 10, and 10. And all together, that gives me 54 total Skittles in the bag. So when I look at writing out my actual probability, how many red Skittles were there? Well, there was 12 out of the whole entire bag, which is 54. So I do want to simplify this fraction down. Now, if you don't notice right away what each of these numbers could be divisible by, again, put it in your calculator, simplify this fraction down. But I know right away both of these numbers are divisible by 6, meaning my final fraction 2/9. So my probability is I have a 2 in 9 chances of getting a red Skittle. So the first part of your lesson, guys, will be just this, working with the vocabulary and then writing your probabilities and simplifying them. So take a second, try the activities that are coming up in the next couple of slides. When you're done with them, then we'll take a look at our last bit of notes, our last example here. Look at one more vocabulary term, and then you'll be ready for your practice. So stay tuned for the second piece.